All right, here we are once again in the pocket dimension. Welcome, everyone. Here we are once again in the pocket dimension. Welcome, everyone. Here we are once again in the pocket dimension. Welcome, everyone. Had an echo, 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 had an echo. All right. So, hope everybody is doing well out there tonight. Today was actually a fairly nice day here, 66 degrees. And I didn't really have anything ready to prime, or else I would have, as it is. So, anyhow, so hello to viewers on Rumble, YouTube, and of course, my old home on Twitch, home base. So, now last week I was having some trouble with this orange. And the reason why is I've got two different oranges. I've got Nova Orange, which I thought was going to be my highlight color. And I've got regular Pro Acryl Orange, which was extremely bright. So there's a little bit of a difference. Now, I based these in a burnt sienna, and I could probably just work from there and be fine, but I wanted to go something with a little bit more bright, so I was using this as maybe the shadow underneath the actual color. So these guys that I have the bright orange on already, I think I'm going to go back over and hit them with the Nova Orange and knock it down again. Of course, that was just one coat anyhow, so a second coat will be just fine, and then we'll work on these guys a little bit more. So it's just paint. You can't mess paint up. If you're going to mess paint up, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to mess up paint. I will say that. So don't be afraid. Just paint on, paint on, paint on. Don't be afraid of messing up. You really can't mess up unless you're just slopping it on there super thick. So we're just going to go back over this bright lurid orange with regular Nova Orange. So Nova Orange is a little bit more subdued. It's a little bit closer to the burnt sienna. So throw a drop of Cuttlefish Colors, Merlin's Magic Medium in there. So you can see it likes to stand up quite a bit. This will help it lay down just a little bit more. But it's got good pigment, and since we're going over its neighbor, I'm not going to worry too much about it. So my Turbo Dork paint got messed up by the cold corner of my hobby room. Truly amazing. Yeah, Axe, absolutely. I understand that one. Goobertown Hobbies did a video, I think last month, about what happens when paint freezes. And I can imagine Turbo Dork is a little bit kind of a delicate product when it comes to that kind of thing. So sorry to hear that happened to your Turbo Dork. That's not cheap paint for sure. So does it seem like you could salvage it at all, or is it kazooched? Let's see what's going on over here with that. Okay. It's extra chunky. Yeah, that is it's definitely probably not salvageable, unfortunately, from what I understand. when it gets like that, there's really not much you can do about it. I got to meet Greg and Meredith from Turbo Dork last year at Adepticon, so nice folks. Um, they've got a good product. It just doesn't like the cold, evidently. Most paints don't. It can really wreak havoc on your paints. So, funny thing, it was with all my other paints. The other brands were fine. I'm not angry though. Didn't use those colors much anyway. Says Axe and Axe. Yeah, understandable. Um, there's a little. The thing about it is, different paint companies have different additives in them. They know that there will probably be a freeze thaw cycle in transit because of warehousing and the like. So they're not they're not ignorant to the problems. I found it interesting that the army painter paints reacted so poorly to being frozen, especially considering that their company is in Denmark. So, but yeah, check out Goobertown Hobbies um, video on that there Axe. He did a really interesting little project there. Of course, he's a chemist by trade anyway, so that kind of thing is right in old Brent's wheelhouse there. Yeah, okay, so you did see it. Yeah, it was pretty great. Gives a lot of insight onto um, on it. Now, I don't know about you, but even though I'm considerably further south than you, we still have some pretty awful weather in the wintertime, so I try to avoid ordering paints in the wintertime. So, as I'm sure you do too. But so I think I'm a little bit sloppy with my paint here. Even though it's very thin, it does like to flow into the crevices and kind of build up there. So it is what it is. And I think I got a little thick when I did my undercoat with the spray paint on a couple places. So some of the detail is a little bit messed up. I was surprised the new Vallejo was so hardy. Yeah, yeah. Vallejo is. Oh, by the way, Axe. So I heard tonight. Vallejo's had a lot of change in personnel over the last couple of years. Um, so they're really interested in coming back into the North American um, distribution. So they're working hard to come back because they were pretty strong. Them and Citadel were sort of the two major paint lines there for a while. And then of course Army Painters got their new hotness line with the Fanatic range. So that's taken a lot. Of course, availability is a big thing for paint lines. So they're working hard to get back into the North American market a little stronger. So Axe says I used both the Turbo Dork paints that had frozen when I first bought them. I think it was a year or two afterwards, before that they went chunked. Oh, okay, interesting. So they kind of must have been reacting somehow inside their bottle. It's odd. Usually there's some really they take a lot of most places take a lot of there's a lot of effort that they go to figure out shelf shelf stability. Um, Army Painter is definitely one of those that has done a lot of research on shelf stability, and part of one of their ways of dealing with shelf stability is, that sort of ketchup water that's on the Army Painter stuff when you open it up. It's not quite as much as it used to be, but it used to be that you'd squeeze out like a big bunch of acrylic medium, just clear goo, right? That was acrylic medium that if you didn't know any better, you'd shake it up and then you'd wind up thinning your paints too much in the bottle because it would mix back in and have bad effects. But so they kind of got a bad reputation for being too thin sometimes. But it was more of a user error than a product error. But who would know, unless you knew. I never knew. It was just something I dealt with, and I never knew it. So, let's see. Calgary has always been a Vallejo town. You find them in pretty much all hobby stores, both wargaming and models. Truth be told, I never used Army Painter until Speed Paint 2.0. I love those metallics. Yes, the Speed Paints really do have quite nice metallics there, Axe. I agree. Absolutely. Hey, wifey DD Minis, good to see you over here on Twitch. Now that's weird. I've got Social Stream Ninja pulled up and it didn't bring my Twitch chat over. Very strange. Well, how is Mrs. DD Minis doing tonight? Nice to see you. Hope everything is going well in your world. So, there's a definite color difference between that bright orange and the Nova orange. So, I'm glad I'm shifting now. We'll see what it will take to do highlights afterwards. I'll probably do a little wash. Probably just do wash and then a highlight. Very basic tabletop ready style paint job. Nothing that'll win awards, because here in the Pocket Dimension, we're not too worried about winning awards. We just want to get our toys on the tabletop. Just like anybody else. I want to do a nice job. I want to do our best job. We're going to learn things as we go. We're going to pick up on little things that are going to make our painting better. But I'm not going to spend hundreds of hours blending on something like this, especially since we have so much of the base color already done with spray paint, that if we miss a spot, it'll be all right. So we can definitely tell that there's a big difference in oranges here. I don't know if it registers very well on the camera or not, but I can tell. Let's see, we did our first Euro-friendly live stream yesterday and it went well. Special guest made it extra special. Nice, Axe. Very cool. Very cool. I did a hobby hangout on Sunday afternoon with somebody on the Rumble side of things. So that was pretty cool. trying to expand the audience, you know. So, but that's pretty cool. What'd y'all talk about, or should I just watch the VOD? So, folks, if you're not following Axe and Axe over on YouTube, you should do that. I believe he's got a little podcast every other week, right? On Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember. The days do tend to draw to try tend to uh, run together sometimes, you know. So definitely catch the rerun. Check yours out from Sunday too. Yeah, that one is over on Rumble with on somebody else's channel. Actually, that's on Patty Patty's Parlor. So I did a little combo stream with him. He invited me on, so I went. We talked about making terrain. He's got a little game called Mutants. It's pretty cool. He uses a 3-inch grid for it. So I think it's available at giantslayergames.com. I think it's a pay what you want game. But support indie creators when you can, you know. Patty's Paddy apostrophe S. Well, yeah, Axe. Rumble's kind of a different animal than a different animal. We'll say it's a different audience than YouTube, if you catch my meaning. But everybody everybody plays games, right? So it tends to be a different audience. We'll say that. So thirsty audience. Um, well, they're more towards the right of center a lot of times. I I had a lot of thought before putting out content over there because I don't really like to get lumped in with all the oh, what would you call it, culture warrior stuff, right? But I took it like this: Michael Jordan said Republicans wear shoes too, right? So I have a lot of friends on with a lot of different thoughts and a lot of different ideas. So I'm really not partial to, I try not to be partial with people. I figure, uh, just treat people the way I want to be treated and I'm all good. So if I can broaden my audience, that's okay too. I'm not too concerned about all the things that are that a lot of people are concerned about. I just like to I like people. I don't you know there's a lot of things I don't hold against people that sometimes other people will hold against folks. I think it's kind of silly. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Axe. Exactly. But I figure everybody has the right to enjoy what I'm putting out there. You know, nothing wrong with being friends with all sorts of people. You know, and if I limit that, then that puts me in that. If I don't take the opportunities for myself based on ideology, um, then that would sort of that kind of puts me in a culture war camp, right? Right. So if I limit my opportunities just because you know of some perceived difference of opinions on a few things, and I'm sure you have friends in your friend group that or acquaintances in your friend group that you don't see eye to eye with on a lot of things. Some people, Axe. Some people don't like pineapple on pizza. You know, I mean, other people do. So I just don't think I need to get all. Like I said, I don't want to limit. I don't want to limit my reach just because of other people's ideologies. You know, so that's pretty good. Now let that sit and maybe do another coat on the backpack. But that's a much better orange. Much better orange. Oh my goodness, looks so much better. It's a little more subdued. Yeah, much better. So what are you working on this week, Axe? Been painting anything? Got any projects, long-term projects, short-term projects going on? I know you were big on 5 parsecs games for a while, but that was a long time ago, amigo. Hey, Jambit Plays. How's it going? Good to see you. I am doing pretty good. I'm working on these orange marines tonight. This is a custom chapter. I'm calling them the Nova Wolves. So, I started out with a really bright orange, and the problem with that really bright orange is that it was um, the consistency was just rough. I just couldn't get it to work right. So I tried the Nova Orange instead, and it's a little more subdued. It's a little bit closer to the burnt sienna base color that I started out with. Custom chapter Jambit. I call them the Nova Wolves. They are what it is. I have another acquaintance online here, and he did the wolf spear he used the decals and did the wolf spear from White Dwarf a few months ago, maybe a year ago. I don't know, however long ago it was. And so I saw those at the game store, and they were getting rid of a bunch of the back issues, so they were $3 a pop. So I got 3 issues with the wolf spear decals in it, and I said I want to do something. I had been thinking about doing these guys up as Space Wolves, but I've got Firstborn Space Wolves already. And I really don't like the idea of shifting between Primaris and Firstborn. Just not my jam. So I was like, you know what? Let me use these Primaris that somehow I got like 20 Primaris just, because they pack these things in with everything. And so I have them. I think a couple of the smaller starter sets from like 9th and 10th edition. So I was like, let me see what I can do with these guys. And I was like, let me do something different with them. So I had this orange, and I found this flat spray paint from Rust-Oleum, flat burnt sienna. I thought to myself that would make a nice base, a nice primer coat for doing an orange over top of. So I saw those decals and I figured, well, that's pretty neat. Let me make my own chapter. We'll call them the Nova Wolves. So, hey, Miar, thanks again for the re-up on the subscription there. So that's the story there, Jambit. Think you did a really good job on picking a contrasting color that works. Do you have a tertiary color you're thinking besides black? Yes. Well, no. So I'm doing turquoise on the chest Aquila, right? And of course I'll be doing silver bits on the guns. But the gun casings, so the top parts and this part of I think I'm going to go with black anyway, maybe gray to black sort of a thing. So I'm not really getting too crazy. I mean, I guess I could go with turquoise, but I think I just want to leave the turquoise on the armor and just do a nice job on the armor. There's a little roughness from the Priming. I primed them really quick a couple of weeks ago before it got cold again. We had a couple of really nice days. So I was a little rushed, and I think I got a little too much in some spots, but again, I'm just going for tabletop quality. If it's a little rough, it's okay. It's armor, right? It should be a little rough. Absolutely bitty, bud. Thanks, Miar. So, so I'm actually changing oranges because I started out with the bright orange, just a regular Pro Acryl orange, and it was just not working for me. So I switched over to Nova Orange, and by mistake, really, quite honestly, as it was. I had actually had regular orange out on the palette, and I just accidentally squeezed Nova or a dot of Nova Orange into it, and so I just started working off of that. I was like, well, there we go. Guess we're gonna do that now. So it's a little rough in places just because of maybe not as careful with some of the primer as I should have been. I was going a little too fast. I didn't wait in some cases. I didn't wait long enough for it to kind of set up, so I kind of wound up reactivating it a little bit and putting a little bit too much in places. But that's okay. I'm not a big fan of weathering and battle damage, and because in my mind the weathering and battle damage happen on the tabletop while you're playing, right? So to me that's best left in your imagination. Now some people like it, and the thing about weathering is also kind of a, and I'm when I say hobby cheat, it's not a bad thing. To me, weathering is a bit of a hobby cheat in that it doesn't require you to do a lot of blending and a lot of highlighting. It's kind of like you go with a base color and then you just start distressing things with other colors, mud colors, and the like. So you're not blending and doing a lot of really fancy things. You're just kind of blowing out and cheating. And there's nothing wrong with hobby cheats. Don't get me wrong. But I think a lot of the weathering that happens is done because we don't want to blend and highlight. Like I said, that's not a bad thing. I'm not dragging anybody for it by any means. I think it is just a fact of the matter. For instance, um, I've got Iron Warriors. Iron Warriors, I spray them with silver or gunmetal color spray paint, and then I do a black wash, and that's it. I really don't do much. I don't do a whole lot of highlighting on them because why? You know. And then I will do a little bit of weathering because it's bare metal. So on their vehicles, I definitely do a lot of weathering, but I don't spend a lot of weathering time on the Iron Warriors themselves. but it is a bit of a cheat on the vehicles. Ads. All right, I think the ads are over now. So this is a little splotchy up here because it's thinner, but that's okay. It's first coat. But thin paint sometimes goes into the crevices here, but if it's thin enough, it's okay. It's really annoying though because I was really hoping to use that base coat as a shade in those crevasses between in the panel lines. So it's a little irritating, a little frustrating, but it it do be what it do be. Like right back here where these panels of armor meet too. That's it's thin. It'll lay down in there, but it's really kind of irritating. It's a little on the runny side, but it's going where I want it to go. Yeah. That is the irritating thing. I think if I throw a wash on there, I mean it'll all be all right with a wash, but I really was trying to avoid those panel lines. I don't like it when it runs into the panel lines, but that's what washes are for. So and of course I've got those armor joints in there yet to clean up now. I might be able to get them if I flood and mop. So we'll flood and mop it just to see if we can get that out of there, but it doesn't look like it's going to work. Probably pull off way more paint out of there than I want to, but that's okay. We can always put it back after we've cleaned it up. If you flood it and mop it, if you don't want it, if it got to where you don't want it to go, that's all right, because you can always put some back later on. Yeah. Of course, everything around that was wet, so now that I've flooded the area, and now I'm mopping it, it all wants to come off of there. So I'll let that dry, let that water dry, and then we'll revisit that area when we go back to do those armor joints, I guess. So, all right, so that one's pretty well along. Let's get this dude over here. Again, so that was the regular orange. It's very kind of leans towards the yellow side of things. So we're gonna go with the Nova orange here, as we've been doing, and go a little more subdued and try to maybe use that regular orange, that more reddish yellow orange, as a highlight to the orange, and then maybe add a little ivory into it to bring it up, punch it up a little bit more even. But rid of some of that moisture out of that brush. All right, so, and the Nova orange is just got a little more flatness to it as well, so that's okay. Of course, around the boots, I might actually do the boots in more of a black to gray rubber sort of a thing too, just to give a little more interest. But the crazy thing is, I have not painted Space Marines in a very long time. All this flat area with no texture kind of gives me the willies, you know. I've painted a lot of things. A lot of the fantasy figures I've painted have a lot of really interesting texture, whether it's skin tones and Ripley muscles, or you know, a bug like chitin, um, or fur, or feathers, or scales. Um, there's just a whole lot. There's a whole lot of things on fantasy models that just add so much more texture and life. I know some people really enjoy painting Space Marines, and there's a lot of things you can do with them. You know, I could be doing a whole lot of blending on this stuff, but I don't want to do a whole lot of blending and a whole lot of fiddling around. Even though there's a lot of real estate on a Space Marine. It's all flat, lots of flat space, so you could do a whole lot of things, but So Miar says he's painting up his first Space Marines right now. Very cool. Hey, Kristen Seeger, how you doing? Good to see you. All right. Good. What you working on these days? I think I saw something in the work in progress on the old Discord there. An angel. All right. Very cool. Well, that's quite divine. Da-dum dum. Sounds heavenly. I mean, the puns can keep rolling. They really can. I can keep going here. Hmm. I really need to clean off this palette because it's got some of that basing material still on it. So I need to be careful because I do have some basing material that got caught in this paint job in particular. I can see it right here on this leg. Where was it? Right there. There's a little piece of fake snow, a little snow flock that got in there. It's okay. But I do really need to clean off this palette before the next session so I'm not having to be concerned or worry about it. There's another piece of snow flock that got in that first layer. need to get the newer paint handles that are a little bit slenderer and work past them maybe. Although I don't think it would help here. It's just it is a very odd what you call it, odd angle. All right, all right, all right. Yeah, I don't really get a chance to do too much in the way of Space Marines. It's kind of a revisiting, especially these newer ones. All right, that's pretty good right there. Not bad. Definitely tell there's a difference between the two oranges. This one is just a little less saturated. So I like that. A little easier to work with too. It just flows better. Speaking of flow, you should follow the painter flow on Instagram. If you're not doing that right now, you should definitely follow Flo the painter on Instagram. She does some really nice work. She is a talented commission painter. She also co-hosts with Miranda, aka the War Gamer Girl, twice a week on her channel, on War Gamer Girl's channel. Wednesday nights at 8:30 Eastern Time. So check that out. Yours are firstborn, Miar. Excellent. I've got a bunch of firstborn to do yet for my original thing, plus my Space Wolves. Like so. All sorts of fun little projects, Miar. Keeps me busy and off the street, you know. Keeps me from being a hooligan. And running wild. Where did I pick up the cat hair? That's what I want to know. I mean, it's almost like there's been a cat in here. Okay, there has been a cat in here. He tends to barge in sometimes when my hands are full when I'm coming in. He's a good boy. Professor Pumpkin is gravimetric research projects. This is a much smoother. Is a much smoother orange, and it may be that it's just going over what I already put down as orange, but it really is a much smoother orange as far as it doesn't clump up quite as bad as the original orange did. So that's good. So I'll probably do some metal bits on some of these vents and such on this backpack. It just depends on how far and how crazy I want to get with it. You know, I don't know how far and how crazy I want to get with these backpacks. All the details. Like I said, I may just go do washes and highlights. Yeah. Much better. Much better. Just much cleaner looking. That original orange just was not working for me. Hmm. So this one was one that I just started hitting with the Nova Orange right out of the gate. So we'll see how this works. All right, let's see. Cool. All right. Though, as loath as I am to normally do um, weathering, I think on a bright color like this, it would look really good. But I think what I will do is I will paint these up like I would normally do it before I do any weathering. Do like weathering. Of course, weathering in the extreme is often called grimdark, the grimdark aesthetic. Mud and guts and gore. It's weathering with an emphasis on gore. So I'm not really down with that quite so much. Which, for competition purposes and display, it's probably great. But a lot of those methods are fiddly, like Yoo-hoo glue, little strings of Yoo-hoo glue. If you're going to try to play with that figure on the tabletop, those strands of Yoo-hoo glue are going to go away pretty quick. Once you start putting those back and forth in your army case and transporting them, that's going to get damaged pretty quick and it's going to be gone. So, some things are great for display and some things are great for play. Of course, you can't have display without play, right? Oh. So, all right. Whew. I think I'm going to take a little break. Grab some water. So I'm gonna grab some water and just take a quick little break here. Ah, well, that's funny. Axe Mac, I didn't see you in chat. I was looking at the other. Oh boy, I'll tell you what. Huh. Boy, oh boy. I got to get this chat bot stuff figured out so I can actually have everything compiled together because I completely missed Mac being here. And Axe is down here. Mac was here and I didn't even see him because my device over here didn't it the chat didn't go up. So Mac, if you're still happen to be there, how you doing? I'm glad to see you. And if you have to go, I understand. Yeah. So let's see. Jeweling. Do I paint BattleTech? Yes, Axe. I do paint BattleTech. Um, let's see. Not a Warhammer player. Are they normally orange? Space Marines are any color you want them to be, just like anything else there, Mac. I'm going to take a quick little bio break. I'm going to grab something to drink, I think. And so here we go. So I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. I need some water. All right, here we are. We are back. Yeah, I think you're probably right, Axe. This would probably be a really terrific scheme on battle mechs. I do have battle mechs. I have battle mechs. I have Tech Commander mechs. I've got Gundam. Of course, I bought 3 Gundam so I could make them up and use the Gamma Wolves rules with them. Gamma Wolves rules by Ash Barker. Um, I picked those up, and I wanted to, but I've only got 3 of them, so I could put them together probably pretty quickly. Um, Maybe I'll do that on a long stream, uh, and do that. But now they've got a Gundam game coming out with comparably sized, full size. Their full size mech Gundams are going to be, about the same size, a little bit taller than a Primera. So they're going to be about 2 inches tall, kind of in that same area size wise as say battle mechs, right? So yeah. But for sure, just make sure I've got the microphone turned back on. Yes, I do. Okay. All right. Yeah, but I think you're right. I think you're right, Axe. I think it probably would. Check out the Gundam Artifact Kit. Sounds complicated, but here's what I found out, Axe. So this is pretty cool. So I have a no-kill shelter nearby me, and for quite some time I've been thinking it would be really cool to work with them and do a charity stream and raise some money for them. Well, you can get into some difficulty if you just do it without talking to somebody, right? Without setting, you can't set up a GoFundMe for somebody just without their permission, right? And so Twitch has like a one-stop button for doing charity streams, and I just happened to be looking through what they had, and our local no-kill shelter came up as as listed on the native Twitch charity list. So that means I can just one stop shop it. I don't have to worry about going and getting approval from them and doing a whole lot of rigmarole and falderall, right? I can just do it. One stop shop, just hit the button, right? So maybe I'll do a Gundam stream sometime, like do a big long like a 12-hour day Gundam build stream or something, as a charity stream, as a fundraiser. That'd be pretty cool, I think. So you got the latest set of the Gundam Artifact Kit coming from Japan. That's pretty cool. Sounds like that's gonna keep you busy for a couple of evenings. Is that to build them just to build them, or are you going to be using them with a game, their Axe? Let's see what we got. Kristen Seeger says she uses her Gundam model to hold her wet palette. That's pretty cool. That sounds fun. Useful and ornamental. It's cheaper to ship from Japan to Canada than it is from USA to Japan. No doubt. No doubt. From to Canada than it's from USA to Japan, to Canada. Right. I know what you meant. I know what you meant, Axe. I know what you meant. Absolutely. Listen to what you mean, not what you say, right? Of course, if I don't get great coverage on this, I can always go back over and hit it again. Right? Mayar says he does that a lot. No doubt. Sometimes our words can't come out as fast as our brains work. I understand that for sure. There's a few fan-made Gundam games. My favorite is called Gundam Warfront. It's based on a rule set very familiar to you. Really? It's based on a rule set very familiar to me, huh? So would that be? Did they rip off? Did they rip our Tech Commander game off? I say rip off. Not really rip off. Me and the other Tech Commander Sea Dog Game Studios uh, GM were at Adepticon, what, 2019, I think, and we were walking by the open play side of things because we host our games over by, or we at least we did when it was in Chicago. This year, I'm not really sure where we're going to be. Hopefully, we'll be in the independent games area where people that are interested in the indie games will notice us. Um, but we were walking through and we happened to see guys pulling out Gundams to play with, and they had, you know, some homebrew rules. I guess you can find them on the internet. So we looked at those and I was like, oh, we got to find those rules. So you say they mashed up a ripoff with the actual Japanese Gundam game called Gundam Collection. Very cool. I'll have to look that up. Gundam Warfront. I'll have to definitely check that out. Show Brian. I think he'll get a kick out of it. Because you know you've made it when people start ripping you off. It's kind of how it works, you know. When people like what they do, they when people like what you do, if it works, they're gonna go, oh, we can try this. Pull that out of there. So one thing I hate is when I have thin paint, but then it's thin. You know it's gonna lay down fine, but it lands right in a groove or something, and it looks like it's just gonna clog things up. But you know it's like in your brain, you know that it's not gonna clog it up, but you just don't feel like it's not gonna that's gonna do it. So I always try to clean it up when that happens. Gundam Warfront was only released on Facebook, though. Not sure. Yeah, I am a Facebook guy. I've got JP Gotrokkits on Facebook, so I'm there actually, and Axe, I'm there. I am a Facebook guy. I've found that Facebook is great if you know why you're there. Stay out of all the controversies, you know. Twitter's a little difficult these days. I joined Twitter when I was putting together the whole channel thing, and I was like, right now I'm not getting a lot of action on the Twitter front for the hobby. So I know a lot of people have gone over to Blue Sky. But it has some problems over there right now, from what I understand. Things I'd like to wait until they get ironed out, figure out a way to police things a little bit better. Because the thing is that stuff you don't have to go looking for it. Sometimes it finds you. There's things on Twitter that have found me that I didn't want to see. I blocked them, obviously, when I was like, I just don't really want to see that. Blocked and reported. So once they clean house a little bit, I think Blue Sky has been, for finding content I like overall, decent. Yeah, full of My Little Pony and BattleTech. Well, if the algorithm is good enough, it should just curate the things that you're interested in. That's part of the problem with Twitter right now is I get a lot of things across my feed, even when I have it switched over to um, for you as opposed to just whatever feed. Um, they There's still a lot of things I don't really care to see comes across there. So if the curation is better over there, I mean, that'd be great if the curation is better on the Blue Sky. But Instagram feed got pretty wonky too. Yeah, I've got my Instagram feed pretty well pared down to hobby stuff and cat videos. So, I mean, that's pretty much all my feed consists of. So I'm pretty happy with that. But the problem with Instagram is it used to give you things in order, and it would show you things from people that you actually knew and followed before it showed you other things. Problem is it doesn't show you things like chronologically from your friends. It shows you everything else, and you'll never see things that you want to see. That's why stories are so much better to use than just the timeline. So if I got to get things out there, I'll put it in the stories, but then the story feed can get pretty wonky, you know. And none of it's really consumer friendly, if you ask me. But I do get a lot more hobby content on Instagram than I do on X. Unfortunately, sorry, Twitter. It's not X to me. It's Twitter. It will always be Twitter. Hey, Gel Tip, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for the raid, man. Appreciate it, folks. If you want some good hobby content over here on Twitch, definitely follow Gel Tip if you're not already. So, thank you very much for the raid. So, Gel Tip, what you been working on tonight, buddy? There must be people who let's see, Axe says there must be people who, but I don't know who they are. So, let's see, Gel Tip, you're working on your Frost Giant challenge, aren't you? The one you and I think who is it? You and Carol and who else is in that little competition you all are working on? About 3 or 4 of you, aren't there? Muse's Touch. Hey, Orcs Paint Shop is rating with. Hey, thanks. Let's see. Working on more Mouselings. That was this past weekend. Orcs Workshop. Thanks you. Wah! Gotta ride and run. Right, you gotta ride and run, sight like orcs. Wah! All right. Cutie Patootie 2020. Hey, nice to have you here. Thanks. Muse's Touch. There were 4 of us, and it was a total con last weekend. Okay, okay. I knew it was something was going on there. I couldn't remember. Well, how did it turn out? How was Total Con, by the way? So, also give Muse's Touch a follow, folks. If you're not following Muse's Touch right now, definitely click on her name there and follow Muse's Touch. Really great artist over there. Great person. Always have a good time hanging out on her stream there. It was awesome, like always, right? Also, give Orcs Paint Shop a follow. They rated up, so give them a follow. So check them out. I'm guessing that they probably paint a lot of orcs over there. Which I should do some orcs. I should do some orcs one day. Let's see what's going on over here. There must be people who say X, but I don't know that, right? Right? Let's see. Wow, so 10 viewers. Very cool. I'm glad you're all here. So, what I'm working on is I'm working on Orange Marines. So, these are Space Marines. These are Primaris. Now, as a rule, I'm not a big Primaris painter. Not big into the Primaris. I've got a lot of Firstborn Marines. But I have accrued a small force, about 20 or so of these Primaris dudes. So I wanted to do something with them, and I found this burnt sienna flat spray paint, which is Krylon or Rust-Oleum color. I'm not sure which. And I thought that would be really cool as a base color for Marines. And I have these great orange colors from Pro Acryl, Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl. I've been looking for a chance to use the Nova Orange, and this is the regular orange. Well, I started out with the regular orange, and I didn't like how it was turning out on these guys. So I switched over to the Nova Orange. It's a little bit more desaturated, and it's a little closer to the base color to work with. So I'll probably use the regular orange more as the highlight colors. So now I will tell you this, folks: if you are here, and if you want to be part of my monthly monster giveaway, if you become a supporter of the channel, that is a subscriber, these are already spoken for. These are going to be, I need to send these out. I have just not had the opportunity. But I paint one monster each month, and I give it away to one of our subscribers here. So if you like what I do and you want to support the channel and possibly wind up with a wee beastie come to your house, that is a perk for subscribers. I don't have too many other perks that I can give away here. I don't have any codes. Actually, I do have one code. So if you like energy drinks, I have a code for Dubby. Go to WGG and use my code Rocket Fuel, ROKKITFUEL, for 10% off your order. Energy without the jitters, energy without the harsh come down. Great for a cold day, great for a hot day when a coffee just won't do it for you. So Miar testifies the truth because he's got a couple of them, and he's going to be his wife actually won this month's monthly monster. So, and I have other giveaways. If you are a follower, I'm trying to get to 400 followers, and when we get to 400 followers, we'll be doing a giveaway. When we get to 400 followers, I will be giving away a brand new boxed copy of Warcrow. Now, it's been out for a little while, but as I understand it, they don't have any distribution for Warcrow in the States yet. So it's a little bit difficult to get still. So I have got a starter box for the Warcrow war game from Corvus Belli. So trying to reach 400 mark. Now 400 mark is great. It's a nice giveaway when we reach 400. But I also have a nice giveaway when you get to 500. So you can't get to 500 unless you hit 400. Now 500, I've got a Game Envy light to give away, along with a set of Game Envy paintbrushes. So definitely tell your friends, come on over, let's get to 500, and we'll give it away to one. We'll give away a Game Envy Lucent Light, which is what I have here. which is one of the finest lights I've ever used. So, if you're not following, be sure to follow so that you can be one of that number and have a chance at winning the Warcrow box, or when we get to 500, we'll give away the Lucent Light and the Phalanx set of brushes. Now that's for Twitch. Now I know that's a lot of this is going out to Rumble and YouTube. Now those offers are for Twitch, but one day we'll be able to combine everything and have and get everyone together for multi-stream drawings when I learn how to do, well, when we get quite a few more, hopefully, between the platforms. Hey Axe, come on over to Twitch. Yeah, it is sort of a nicer it is a nicer user experience altogether. And the thing about Twitch that I like better than YouTube, Axe, is the raid function. YouTube doesn't have a way to raid other channels that are doing the same thing, so it's hard to build your community on YouTube. That's a real problem with networking over there, is you really can't, there's really no way to collaborate. I mean, you have to set up everything outside of YouTube, really. There's no way to raid. There's no, over here on Twitch, and even Rumble you can raid, believe it or not. So, raiding out at the end of the stream, as we often do, it helps other content creators. You get to know other people. You get to see their work. You get to support one another. I mean, it really is a nice feature for building up, well, just building up and encouraging each other, really. So, and there's Necromundo. That's right, absolutely. Ah, yes, Necromundo. I gotta get that shirt. That and Not Children's. He's got the Not Children's toys, or Not Children's items shirt as well. I want to get that one too. But I'm afraid if I order them now, I won't get them in time for Adepticon. Yes, we have Necromundo over here on Twitch as well. We got about 12 minutes left in tonight's broadcast. And it is a broadcast now. Since I'm going across 3 platforms, it is broadly cast. So, but these orange marines are going to be a chapter of my own making. Let's see if I've got the decals up here. Let's see. I've got decals up here. I don't know if I've got these decals that I want to talk about, though. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Everything. Okay, here we are. Here they are. All right. Do. All the decals in the world here. So. Oh. clumsy. Well, I'll pick them up in a minute. Hope to make it to Adepticon someday. Axe says, I guess I just got to quit my job or retire. Well, don't quit your job. If you quit your job, you'll never make Adepticon. There were actually some content creators that were giving away free tickets, all day, 4-day tickets. So the only thing you'd have to do is find lodging. So this is the Wolf Spear transfer sheet, and this came with a white dwarf from middle of last year or so, I guess. So one of the painters, one of the guys in the Build Paint Play Facebook group, and yeah, I know you've all heard me talk about Build Paint Play over on YouTube on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock with Dave Taylor. Yes, that Dave Taylor and Jake Krajewski. Just a great 2 hours of talk about the industry and hobby and interviews with people that are highly creative, making indie games and doing really interesting things in the industry. So check that out. That's Build Paint Play at 7 o'clock Tuesday night on YouTube. Dave Taylor, Jake Krajewski, Build Paint Play, 7 o'clock. So check that out. But one of the Facebook group members painted up the Wolf Spear successor chapter of Space Wolves for their Tale of Four Warlords, four gamers, right? Well, I had these Primaris figures, and I really didn't know what to do with them. And I'd thought about painting them up in blueberries, but I've got 30K stuff that I'm going to do blueberries. And I thought about doing them up in Space Wolves. Well, I'm doing my Space Wolves in Firstborn because I've got a lot of classic figures. So I thought, what in the world what color can I do these in? And I'm not really big on doing Codex chapters. I like to do my own chapters. So I saw this burnt sienna spray paint at Lowe's, and it was flat. So if it would have been satin or gloss, obviously gloss is right out. But it was a flat burnt sienna. So I said, wow, that'd be a really cool base color for orange because it's close. I'm not going up too far. Orange and yellow are difficult colors to paint anyway. So I bought it. I sprayed these guys with it, and now I'm doing them in orange. So these are going to use the Wolf Spear transfers. I don't know if you can see them out there in YouTube land, but I'm going to be using those on these guys. And these are my Space Wolf successor chapter called the Nova Wolves. So the Nova Orange, right? These are going to be the Nova Wolves. So give me just a minute. I just can't stand having stuff on the floor behind me here. I'm going to clean up. Arrgh. So I found a purpose for my Primaris finally. So I finally found a purpose for my Primaris figures. And found a good color for them as well. So that was nice. And I thought I might like to get those done. I only got a couple dozen of these dudes. I don't really know that I'm really going to do a whole lot. I was thinking about the Hatchet Parts Works magazine deal, where it's like for $16 an issue, you get a sprue of guys, and they send you 4 issues a month, so it's $60 a month, and you get Marines. It's actually a really good deal. For like over the course of the subscription, there's like 9 or 12. What it boils down to is you're getting close to 50% off of the models. So it's like all works out. If you stick with it, it works out to be something like $1,800 for 9 combat patrols. Whoop. Add. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So those subscriptions during the Necron area, definitely a lot of bang for your buck, but still a lot of bucks. Yes. They didn't want to give me my purchases, so suggest sub now, so there's no issues later. Yeah, about $80 a month. Yep. Taxes and delivery kind of got me. Sure, sure. So, all right. So of course, well, it is 4 minutes until 11. And I don't think I should get stuck in on this guy yet, but that's going to be the sergeant. Why is he the sergeant? Because he's the only guy dumb enough to not wear a helmet in a war zone. So actually, he's got a helmet out back here on his belt, but he's already missing an arm. I guess he's already got a bionic arm, so I guess he figures he can get a bionic head. So we're going to put that aside for tonight. Continue on with this project on Thursday. So now I want to sell my Necrons because I don't even play 40k. Well, there's always one-page rule, Miar. And there's always rules you can make up yourself, too. So. Alright. Well, we are going to raid out over here, so. Let's see. I'm going to say good night to YouTube. Good night, YouTube. Since we can't go anywhere or do anything there. Have a better tomorrow, YouTube. Good night to you.